3 years ago, when a small group of college executives chose, they left plenty of other proposals on the cutting room floor. Those include an 8-team format awarding the 5 highest-ranked conference champions with automatic berths and the next 3 ranked teams at large spots, with no first-round byes. There was the simple format of selecting the highest-ranked 8 or highest-ranked 12 teams with 0 automatic bids. And, finally, officials deeply explored remaining at 4 teams with an added wrinkle. The selection process would happen after all teams competed in bowl games. 12 teams or 24 teams or 36, there are always 5 schools outside looking in who are unhappy. "We can't solve that," said Bob Bowlesby, the former Big 12 commissioner who was on the. "We put a premium on winning a conference championship as a difficult accomplishment and one that deserved to be heavily weighted. In the end, we gravitated to 12 and spent a lot of time on what are the downsides." 1 round into the inaugural year of the 12-team playoff, the college football world is examining those downsides with format and selection suggestions of their own. Recommendations, from pundits on television to casual fans on social media, range from a 24-team bracket to a return to the 2-team BCS structure. But as the sport lurches toward a group of highly billed quarterfinals next week, only a few possible playoff changes really exist. The CFP is an entity created through an agreement among the 10 conferences of the Football Bowl subdivision in Notre Dame. Much like a conference exists out of an agreement among member schools, the CFP exists for its member conferences and binds them together through a television contract currently with ESPN. The CFP's executive director, newly hired former Air Force General Richard Clark, serves at the whim of the CFP's 11-member governing bodies. 1. The Board of Managers, which is composed of 1 university president from each of the 10 FBS leagues and Notre Dame, and 2. The Management Committee, composed of the 10 FBS conference commissioners and Notre Dame's athletic. The spring, CFP commissioners struck a new 6-year agreement that extends the CFP as an entity through the 2031 playoff. The new agreement begins in 2026. Changes to the format in the last year of the original agreement, next season's playoff, requires unanimity among the 11 members of the board. Changes to the format starting in 2026, however, are a bit different. As part of the new 6-year extension, the conferences agreed to cede decision-making powers on format to the SEC and Big Ten, at least that's what those 2 leagues claim, but with certain agreed-upon guarantees of any future format. 1. The automatic inclusion of the 5 highest-ranked conference champions. 2. A protection for independent Notre Dame if the school finishes high enough in the committee's rankings. 3. A field of 12 or 14. The 2 conferences have asserted their will on everyone else with threats that they will exit both the CFP and NCAA framework to start a separate entity. This is not new and was something, when the 2 leagues wrestled away both a larger share of playoff revenue in a new distribution structure and control over future playoff format decisions. This is why the success in the playoff of football programs outside of those 2 conferences is so important. Can the ACC, Big 12 and, perhaps even, the Group of 5 make a dent in the perception, and maybe reality, that the SEC and Big 10, Notre Dame too, are in another stratosphere? Can they do enough to strengthen their arguments related to opportunities in future playoffs? So far, not so good. The other guys are 0-2. The ACC is out of the field after round 1. Its champion, Clemson, lost by 2 touchdowns against the SEC's runner-up, and its runner-up, SMU, got crushed by the Big Ten's runner-up. Granted, both were on the road. The next 2 games pitting the other 8 against the Power 2 unfurl on neutral fields. The Group of 5's best team, Boise State, plays Big Ten runner-up Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl, and Big 12 champion Arizona State meets SEC runner-up Texas in the Peak.